the signal from beyond. Captain Sarah Chen pressed her face against the observation deck's reinforced window, watching Saturn's rings catch the distant sunlight like scattered diamonds. The massive gas giant dominated the view from deep space. Monitoring Station Cerberus, humanity's most advanced listening post positioned at the edge of human space. Sarah had commanded this station for 3 years, and every day brought the same routine of scanning empty space for signals that never came. Her reflection stared back from the glass, showing tired brown eyes and black hair pulled into a regulation. Bun, a 35, she was young for a deep space command, but her expertise in xenolinguistics and theoretical alien communication protocols made her the perfect choice for first contact operations. Not that anyone expected first contact to actually happen. The station housed 200 personnel from across Earth's nations and colonies. The crew represented humanity's diversity, with scientists, engineers, and military officers from every continent working together in the vast rotating structure that served as both research facility and early warning system. Sarah took pride in the fact that national boundaries meant nothing out here among the stars. Dr. Amara Okafor burst into the observation deck, her usually composed demeanor replaced by barely contained excitement. The Nigerian astrophysicist served as the station's chief science officer, and Sarah had never seen her lose her professional calm. "Captain, you need to come to communications immediately," Amara said, her accent thick with urgency. "We've detected something from the Kepler 442 system. It's not natural." Sarah's heart rate increased as she followed Amara through the station's curved corridors. Kepler 442 lay 47 light-years from Earth, well beyond the range of human exploration, but close enough for their most sensitive equipment to detect artificial signals. The communications center buzzed with activity as the night shift worked frantically at their stations. Lieutenant Commander Viktor Petrov looked up from his workstation, his pale blue eyes reflecting the glow of alien symbols scrolling across his screen. The former Russian Navy officer had spent 15 years analyzing deep space signals, developing an almost supernatural ability to distinguish between cosmic phenomena and intelligent transmissions. "Captain, the signal strength suggests a massive transmission array," Victor reported, his English heavily accented but precise. Whatever sent this message wanted it to be heard across interstellar distances. Dr. James Harrison hunched over the translation computer, his weathered hands flying across the holographic interface. The elderly British linguist had spent his career studying ancient human languages, preparing for the day when those same skills might unlock alien communications. His grey hair was disheveled, and coffee stains marked his wrinkled shirt. "The mathematical constants are clear," James muttered, more to himself than the others. "Prime numbers, pi, Fibonacci sequences. They're establishing intelligence and peaceful intent, but the emotional undertones..." He trailed off, his face pale. Sarah moved to the main display where alien symbols pulsed with soft light. The characters seemed organic, flowing like liquid across the screen in patterns that suggested both technology and artistry. Even without understanding the language, she could sense the desperation in the message's structure. "What are they saying?" Sarah asked. James activated the translation protocol, and synthetic voice filled the communications center. The words emerged slowly, each phrase weighted with cosmic distance and alien emotion. "To any species capable of receiving this transmission, we are the Cathara of the third planet orbiting the star you designate. Kepler to 442. Our world burns under the weapons of the Nethrak Empire. Our cities fall, our children flee to the deep. Caves, our defenders die protecting the innocent. The voice paused, and Sarah could hear the collective intake of breath from her crew. First contact with alien intelligence, and it was a cry for help from across the galaxy. The message continued. We have observed your species from afar. Your broadcasts travel through space, carrying stories of your wars, your art, your determination to survive against impossible odds. You call your world Earth, and from our observations, it should have killed your species long ago. Asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, predators, diseases, yet you endure and grow stronger. Victor's fingers trembled as he checked the signal's point of origin. Captain, this transmission is 47 years old. Whatever happened on their world, ... might already be over, Sarah finished. But something in the message's carefully constructed plea suggested otherwise. James continued the translation. We know you have no obligation to strangers across the void. We know the distances involved make any aid impossible by conventional means. But we have studied your species, and you alone, among all we have observed, refuse to abandon the innocent. You fight when others surrender. You protect when others flee. If you can hear this message, if your compassion extends beyond your own species, we beg for your help. The transmission included star charts, tactical data about the Nethrak Empire, and most surprisingly, detailed analysis of human military capabilities gathered from decades of passive observation. The Cathara had been watching Earth's conflicts, studying human behavior, and reaching the conclusion that only Deathworld warriors might be capable of standing against their enemies. Amara studied the technical specifications embedded in the message. Captain, their analysis of human warfare is remarkably accurate. They've catalogued our responses to the Titan colony war, the Mars independence movement, even classified military exercises. Sarah felt a chill as she realized the implications. An alien species had been secretly observing humanity for decades, analyzing their potential as allies in a galactic war. The message ended with coordinates and a desperate plea that seemed to echo across the empty space between stars. The Nethrak Empire spreads like a plague across the galaxy, consuming worlds and enslaving species. They have never encountered resistance they could not break, opposition they could not crush, but they have never faced the warriors of a death world. If you choose to answer our call, know that you will be remembered as heroes across 1,000 worlds. Silence filled the communications center as the crew absorbed the magnitude of what they had received. Sarah looked at the faces around her, seeing fear mixed with determination in equal measure. These people had dedicated their lives to the possibility of making contact with alien intelligence. And now that moment had arrived with a request that could change the course of human history. Dr. Harrison broke the silence. Captain, there's more data hidden in the transmission's carrier wave. Technical specifications for faster-than-light communication, power generation systems we've never imagined, and he paused, his face growing pale. Detailed scans of the Nethrak invasion fleet. If their numbers are accurate, they have enough ships to sterilize every planet in human space. Sarah moved to the command station and activated the emergency communication array. Her decision would commit humanity to its first interstellar war, but the alternative was abandoning an entire species to extinction while waiting for the same fate to reach Earth. This is Deep Space Station, Cerberus to Earth Command. Priority: Alpha transmission. We have confirmed first contact with alien intelligence. Species requesting military assistance against hostile empire. Recommend immediate fleet mobilization for humanitarian intervention. As the message raced toward Earth at the speed of light, Sarah wondered if she had just saved 2 civilizations or doomed them both. But as she looked at her crew's faces, she saw the same determination that had carried humanity through every crisis in their violent history. The children of the Deathworld were about to answer a call for help that had traveled across the galaxy. Within hours, every military installation in the solar system received copies of the Cathara transmission. Emergency sessions convened in every major capital as world leaders grappled with the reality of alien contact and the moral implications of interstellar warfare. But even as politicians debated, something remarkable was happening throughout human space. Military vessels began changing course toward Earth, abandoning routine patrols and training exercises to answer the call. Civilian ships volunteered for support roles, their crews driven by the same instinct that made humans run toward danger when others needed help. Research stations contributed their experimental weapons. Mining operations offered their cargo haulers, and even luxury liners volunteered to serve as hospital ships. Sarah watched the fleet composition updates streaming across her displays, amazed by the diversity of vessels responding to the call. Massive dreadnoughts designed for planetary bombardment flew alongside converted merchant vessels bristling with improvised weapons. Corporate security ships joined government destroyers, and asteroid miners retrofitted their equipment for combat operations. Admiral Carlos Rodriguez assumed overall command of what military historians would later call the First Interstellar Relief Fleet. His flagship, the carrier Valkyrie, served as the coordination center for over 1,500 vessels of every class and nationality. The admiral was a veteran of the Jupiter blockade, known for his tactical brilliance and unwavering commitment to protecting civilians. As the fleet assembled in Earth orbit, Sarah realized that humanity had just revealed its true nature to the galaxy, not as conquerors or explorers, but as protectors willing to risk everything for strangers they had never met. The Deathworld warriors were about to embark on their greatest mission, carrying the hopes of 2 species across the vast darkness between stars. The fleet that defied logic. Admiral Carlos Rodriguez stood in the command center of the carrier Valkyrie, surrounded by holographic displays showing the largest human fleet ever assembled. 1,500 vessels of every class and origin floated in formation around Earth, their crews united by a mission that defied every principle of galactic warfare. No species in recorded history had ever traveled 47 light-years to help strangers. Yet here was humanity preparing to do exactly that. The Admiral was 58 years old, with grey hair and scars on his hands from the Jupiter blockade, where he had learned that sometimes impossible odds required impossible solutions. His weathered face reflected decades of command experience, but nothing had prepared him for coordinating a fleet that included everything from military dreadnoughts to converted ice haulers. Commander Alina Vasquez approached with the final fleet roster, her expression mixing amazement with concern. The former Mars Colony Defense Coordinator had spent her career managing limited resources against superior forces, making her perfect for this unprecedented operation. Admiral, final count is 1,847 vessels, Alina reported. We have 400 military ships, 600 armed civilian volunteers, and 847 support craft. But sir, most of these civilian ships have never seen combat. Rodriguez nodded, studying the tactical displays. The diversity of the fleet reflected humanity's greatest strength and weakness. Unlike other species that maintained professional military forces, humans were preparing for war with miners, merchants, researchers, and anyone brave enough to volunteer. Captain Lisa Park entered the command center, still wearing the flight suit from her experimental ship, testing. The Korean-American pilot commanded the stealth destroyer Nightfall, one of 12 vessels equipped with prototype cloaking technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien probes. Her calm demeanor masked years of flying impossible missions through asteroid fields and combat zones. "Admiral, all stealth units report ready for deployment," Lisa announced. "The Cathara technical data has helped us optimize our cloaking systems for interstellar operations." Dr. Michael Chen, the fleet's chief xenobiologist, looked up from his analysis station. Sarah Chen's younger brother had volunteered for the mission despite having no military experience, driven by scientific curiosity and family loyalty. His expertise in theoretical alien biology made him essential for first contact protocols. "Admiral, I've been analyzing the Cathara physiological data from their transmission," Michael reported. "They're silicon-based life forms, incredibly resilient but vulnerable to specific energy frequencies. If we encounter survivors, I know how to help them." The fleet's composition told the story of humanity's response to crisis. The dreadnought Titan carried enough firepower to level the city, flying alongside the converted research vessel Discovery, whose crew had replaced scientific instruments with missile launchers. Mining ships bristled with improvised kinetic weapons, while luxury liners had been converted into mobile hospitals. Rodriguez activated the fleet-wide communication system, his voice reaching every vessel in the formation. "This is Admiral Rodriguez. To all ships, in 6 hours, we depart for Kepler 442 to answer a call for help that traveled 47 years to reach us. We're not going as conquerors or explorers. We're going as protectors." The Admiral paused, looking at the faces of his staff. The Nethrak Empire has never faced an enemy like humanity. They expect conquered species to surrender when faced with superior numbers. They expect civilizations to abandon their allies when survival is at stake. They're about to learn that Deathworld warriors don't abandon anyone. Engineer Pablo Martinez monitored the fleet's technical readiness from the Valkyrie's engineering section. The Mexican engineer had spent 20 years designing weapons systems, always knowing this day might come. His latest creation, the quantum torpedo, could phase through enemy shields by briefly existing in parallel dimensions. "All ships report drive systems optimal for interstellar jump," Pablo announced. "The Cathara navigation data has been integrated into our guidance computers. The jump to Kepler 442 would take 18 hours using humanity's most advanced faster-than-light technology." The Cathara had provided crucial navigation data in their transmission, allowing human ships to arrive in their system without years of dangerous exploration. Dr. Rachel Kim, the fleet's combat medic, prepared medical supplies for treating both human casualties and potential Cathara survivors. The Canadian doctor had volunteered despite having a family on Mars, driven by the same instinct that made human medics run toward gunfire to save lives. "Medical teams on all ships report ready for alien physiology treatment," Rachel announced. "The Cathara biological data suggests they're incredibly hardy, but their silicon-based metabolism requires different medical approaches." As the fleet prepared for departure, Rodriguez received updates from Earth's command. Every major world leader had authorized the mission, putting aside political differences to support humanity's first humanitarian intervention in interstellar space. The United Nations had officially designated the operation as a peacekeeping mission, though everyone knew it was preparation for war. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Kim commanded the fleet's marine contingent from the assault ship Leviathan. The Korean veteran had served in 3 colonial conflicts and understood that sometimes diplomacy required the backing of superior firepower. Her 5,000 Marines represented every nation and colony, united by their commitment to protecting the innocent. "All ground forces report, ready for deployment," Sarah announced. "We're prepared for everything from refugee evacuation to planetary assault." The departure sequence began as ships across the formation activated their faster-than-light drives. Rodriguez watched the tactical display as humanity's greatest fleet, prepared to travel farther from Earth than any human had ever gone. The mission violated every principle of military strategy, yet every crew member understood they were making history. "All ships, this is Admiral Rodriguez. Jump sequence initiating in 60 seconds. Remember, we're not just representing Earth. Today, we're representing every species in the galaxy that believes the strong should protect the weak." The jump to Kepler 442 occurred in a flash of exotic energy that bent space-time around the human fleet. 18 hours later, they emerged. In an alien star system where the third planet burned under orbital bombardment. The Cathara homeworld was a beautiful blue and silver world, its continents covered with crystal cities that sparkled like jewels, even as Nethrak warships systematically destroyed them. Commander Vasquez studied the tactical situation with growing horror. "Admiral, I count over 200 Nethrok vessels in orbit around Cathara Prime. They're conducting systematic planetary bombardment." The Nethrok ships were massive and organic-looking, their hulls covered with biometallic armor that seemed to pulse with life. The smallest vessels were larger than human destroyers, while their command ships dwarfed anything in Earth's fleet. They moved with predatory grace, clearly designed for intimidation as much as combat. Rodriguez felt ice form in his stomach as he counted enemy vessels, but his expression remained calm. All ships, battle stations, were outnumbered 10-1. But we're not outfought. Remember, they've never faced Deathworld warriors. Captain Park's stealth destroyer led the initial attack, phasing through Nethrak sensor nets to strike at their supply vessels. The first Nethrak ships to die never saw their attackers, human torpedoes materializing inside their hulls to detonate, with devastating effect. The main fleet engaged moments later, human ships diving into combat with reckless courage that stunned their enemies. Mining vessels used their industrial equipment as weapons, launching asteroid fragments at Nethrak ships with devastating accuracy. Converted merchants fired improvised missiles, while research vessels deployed experimental weapons that violated several laws of physics. Dr. Chen established communication with Cathara survivors on the planet's surface, his translation protocols allowing real-time coordination with the alien defenders. The Cathara were indeed silicon-based lifeforms, their crystalline bodies reflecting light like living gems. Despite facing extinction, they fought with desperate courage to protect their young. "Admiral, the Cathara are reporting Nethrak ground forces in their major cities," Michael announced. "They're requesting immediate assistance." Colonel Kim's Marines launched assault pods toward the planet's surface, their armored forms streaking through the orbital battle like falling stars. Human ground forces had trained for every possible combat environment, but fighting aliens on an alien world presented unique challenges. The space battle raged for 6 hours, human ships using tactics that no galactic species had ever attempted. Civilian vessels rammed enemy ships in suicide attacks, their crews sacrificing themselves to protect the fleet. Military ships fought with the desperate fury of cornered animals, refusing to retreat even when facing impossible odds. Pablo's quantum torpedoes proved devastating against Nethrak bioarmor, the exotic weapons ignoring their defenses to strike at vital systems. Human kinetic weapons punched through alien shields designed to deflect energy beams, while stealth technology allowed surprise attacks that shattered enemy formations. The turning point came when Captain Park's destroyer materialized inside the Nethrak command ship, its crew detonating the vessel's antimatter reactor in a sacrifice that destroyed half the enemy fleet. The explosion lit up the system like a new star, and the surviving Nethrak vessels fled in terror. Rodriguez watched enemy ships disappear into hyperspace, their organic hulls damaged and their formation shattered. The human fleet had won, but the cost was devastating. Over 300 vessels had been destroyed, and thousands of crew members would never see Earth again. All ships secure from general quarters, Rodriguez announced. Begin rescue operations for Cathara survivors. As human ships descended toward the damaged planet, they were met by Cathara vessels rising from hidden shelters. The aliens' crystalline ships were works of art, grown rather than built, their hulls singing with harmonious frequencies that seemed to welcome their rescuers. The first face-to-face meeting between humans and Cathara occurred in the ruins of their capital city. The aliens were tall and graceful, their silicon-based bodies glowing with internal light. When they spoke, their voices carried the music of crystal chimes, conveying gratitude that transcended language barriers. Dr. Chen served as translator. As the Cathara leader addressed the human fleet, "For generations, we watched your species from afar. We saw your wars, your struggles, your refusal to surrender in the face of extinction. We hoped that if we were ever in desperate need, the Deathworld warriors would answer our call." Admiral Rodriguez responded with simple dignity. "We came because it was the right thing to do. No species should face extinction alone." The Cathara leader's crystalline form pulsed with emotion. "You have given us more than survival. You have given us hope. The galaxy will know that the warriors of Earth keep their promises." As human and Cathara ships worked together to evacuate survivors and assess damage, Rodriguez realized they had accomplished something unprecedented in galactic history. Two species, separated by vast distances and fundamental biology, had formed an alliance based on mutual respect and shared values. The rescue mission had become something greater. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy not as conquerors, but as protectors. The Deathworld warriors had kept faith with strangers across the stars, and the universe would never be the same.